Hot chocolate? Anybody? Hello. Good evening. How are you doing? I hope it is fantastic. Today is Friday night at approximately 8 o'clock, and I wanted to sit down and finally record my video. Here's the stitch. I recorded this video a couple days ago, and then as I was watching back, I just felt like it was not my authentic self or the self that I wanted to put out here. And so I'm choosing to record it and get it edited and still put it out Sunday when you are seeing this. So whenever you are seeing this, I hope you are having an amazing day, and I am so excited and so stoked to be here with you. Let's talk about what we're doing here, shall we? My intents and theories and thoughts for this episode is starting out a series, which is the About Me series, where we just sit down and talk about me, not to be conceited, where we just sit down, talk about me, my life experiences. I bring my wisdom to the table in all of my almost 24 years of being here and alive, and just kind of talk about life. So today's video is more of like an overview. I wanted to do like a brief introduction, like the main things that you really need to know, the things that I tell all my friends when I first meet them, because that's what we are. We're besties here. So you got to know all the basics before we get into all the heavy or weird or awkward stuff. Sound good? Let's get into it. First thing you need to know is a name. Kayla Alexis. That is my preferred name. I don't go by anything else. You can call me anything else. I just might not answer to it. But yes, Kayla Alexis. That's going to be a big name one day, so just keep it in the back of your noggin. Next up will be age. I am very transparent about my age. I don't think that's a very common thing. I just find that it's an age, like all but a number. So I am 23 years old, or 23 years young, as it feels better to say. I'm a 2000s baby, and I'm a Pisces, but I am like the Pisces. Like when you think Pisces, think me. I'm more fish than I care to admit. Hot chocolate break. Occupation? I am a student right now. That's like my full-time gig. I am taking my full-time credits, and I still work on the side. I have a little campus job, but I really just focus on my schooling. That is the most important thing to me right now. So I pour all of my energy into it, and it's what keeps me happy, and it's what keeps the grades up. So not by no means is that a standard, but it is my standard. So I focus way better when I have my full undivided attention on something, and then other background noise on the side. One tiny thing that I forgot to mention. I did not mention my major, so I wanted to come back in and say that I am a photography, film, and new media major with a big fingers crossed. Again, schooling is another video I plan to do as a whole topic on its own. My schooling journey has been a very wild one, a very roller coaster one that I would love to talk about in a more in-depth video. So for all you need to know right now is that just keep your fingers crossed for me, photography, film, and new media major. So next up we have my family, which would be my mom and me. My mom and I would be proper grammar, actually. My mom and I. So I'll put a little picture right here. She is the sweetest. She's the best. I love her with my whole heart. I would be lost and completely alone in this world if I didn't have her. She keeps me so grounded, and she's just so amazing. And I cannot speak my praises enough that I am just so blessed with the best. Next up, we have my guardian angels, two people that I definitely feel like I have to acknowledge in some form because they are a family and they are watching over me from the heavens. So we'll put that picture right here. That one is my brother and my dad. Unfortunately, they both passed away about 2 years ago around the same time. So it's been very hard without them, but I live every day to be in their legacy. And I know we'll talk more about them later in a fuller, more in-depth video. But I had to mention them because I would be lost without them as well. They guide me and protect me and so many things. I have so many blessings that have happened because they are making it happen in the heavens, and praise that. Praise that. Continuing on with where we left off now. So one of the greatest titles that I am blessed beyond this world with is Auntie. So I had to mention my nephew and my nieces. I am just the proudest aunt ever. I love my babies so much. And they are actually having some birthdays coming up. I have my nephew will be turning 8. My nieces will be turning 4 in February. So they grow up so fast. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. I'm just so honored to watch them grow like they do, and I just can't believe they are getting to be so big. Next up, we're going to talk about things that I love that it feels like I should mention. The first being tattoos and piercings. I have 29 tattoos, 19 piercings. I plan to do a longer tattoo video, kind of tell you about my processes, what they've been like, kind of point out a few of my tattoos, give you the story behind them. Again, a longer video that will come later. I love coffee. I'm drinking hot chocolate right now, but I love coffee. My favorite being chai tea lattes. I have had it recently over the winter when they were doing like brown sugar syrup in them at like Starbucks and Dunkin'. And it is something I've stuck with. Just so good. I love it so much. Another thing I love are cats. I go hard for cats. I would die for cats. I am probably a cat in another life. I have 2 precious little babies, so we'll put those images right here at the same time. So first we'll talk about Bear. Bear Hemingway. Both of my cats have names after authors that I really enjoy. So we got Bear Hemingway. Bear Hemingway is 7. She is a Maine Coon. She is really chunky, but we love her like that. And then we have Spidey Poe. He is my black male cat. All right, popping back in to mention something that I forgot to say before. He is 5. I don't know why that was relevant, but I did it for Bear, so I had to mention it for Spidey Poe. He is a very territorial protector. He loves his pack, but if you are not from his pack and he's unfamiliar with you, he could possibly like bite your face off, but we keep it under wraps. They're both the best. They're so cuddly with us, my mom and I. But like I said, with strangers, it just gets a little dicey there. So we kind of keep the visitors to a minimum. My mom is the one taking care of them right now. I cannot have them in the dorms just because of their behavior. But bless her for taking care of my little, we call them demons, my little babies. And the last thing that I love are numbers. I love numbers. I cannot get enough. My favorite numbers are probably 3, 13, 27, and then 333. I really like the number 3 and 333 especially. I have it on my necklace. You can kind of see it. And then I also have it tattooed on me. That's because when you see 333, mind, body, and spirit align. And that's just something that stuck with me. 3 really picked up to be my number. And I just kind of kept it with me since. Continuing on, we are going to talk about my pet peeves now, or things that I dislike. I felt like things that I hate was too negative. Like, I don't like to say that I hate things, where like opposite of love is hate. It's more like a dislike. They're more like pet peeves. They're more like things that irk me, but I can live with, you know? Those are the kinds of things that we're going to talk about. The first one to mention is my biggest pet peeve, and it's nothing that anybody else does. It's all me. But I have what's called a black hole. And I swear this black hole follows me around and I lose things. Like I will set something one place and then I'll turn around and the black hole takes it. It absorbs it. and then it's in a completely different location, or I cannot find it, and it drives me bonkers. It drives me so crazy. I get so irritated, and I just have to talk to myself calmly, let the universe bring it back when it comes around, and I be finding stuff in the weirdest places because of it. So I don't know what it is, but I just know that I have a black hole that follows me around. Another thing that irks me is when I refresh my screen before I'm ready. I don't know why. It is just something that's like grinds my gears a little bit. I wasn't ready to go back to the top of my feed. I was still scrolling through 2 days ago's post. So it's just like a weird little one. Another thing that I struggle with are manners. If I hold the door open for you, please just give me some kind of acknowledgement. Like, it doesn't have to be a full on thank you if you're not feeling it, but a little head nod goes a long way. It just makes me feel appreciated. Oh my gosh. Another thing that really grinds my gears is reverse deja vu, is what I'm calling it. But it's like I see something happen, or something I know that like I can anticipate is going to be a bad situation, and I'll see it in my mind, and I think nothing of it until it happens. I.e., I have a whole example of this. I had been on a photo shoot the other day with my roommate and and I had been getting all my gear ready to go, and I was getting on top of this ladder to take some over the head pictures, and I put my lens on the top of the ladder. Seen it in my head before I even got on the ladder. I was going to knock that lens off, and it was going to break, and I was going to be upset. Didn't think anything of it, still did what I did, and then of course I dropped the lens and it broke. So that was frustrating. That is just one of those frustrating things that just really gets to me, because why? What lesson is there? But it is the lesson of patience, listening to yourself, and that is what I'm trying to take from it. So when I get an intuition, gut feeling that something is not right that's going to happen, I try to take a step back and think about it before I go through with it. Well, we're going to cap my pet peeves there. I could go into a whole video about my pet peeves. One more thing that I'd like to mention, feels pretty big to mention because it can be pretty dicey. However, religion is something that's really important to me. And while I don't consider myself religious, I consider myself more spiritual. I have a lot of different expressions when it comes to religion, as far as I do believe in God. I praise God daily. However, I also believe in the universe and her as a whole, and she is her own being, and she carries her own agenda, and they kind of work together. So there's like this universe, and then there's God, and they feel like two separate things to me. They don't feel like the same thing. So religion is another, spirituality is another video that I want to make on its own, in terms of my personal spiritual journey, where I've gotten to where I am. Maybe we can agree on something, maybe we might not agree on something, but the point is that we're seeing new perspectives, and I would just like to share my perspective. All right, and then the last thing I wanted to end on, the basics that you should know about me, is music. I am the biggest music person that I know. I cannot play any instruments, but my appreciation for music goes so deep. I love hearing new music. My favorite artists are honestly underground artists. I don't really listen to the radio anymore like I used to. I have a whole Spotify that is dedicated to all of the artists that my brother really listened to, or I really listened to, and then I've just gotten down in further into like a tunnel of new artists that I've never even heard of until I started really listening to a couple of their songs, and then I go into their history and I really listen to some of their other stuff, and then I just get more involved. Some artists that really pop into my head, not underground, but MGK is probably one of my top all-time favorite artists. That's the inspiration behind this tattoo. Yeah. I'll see if I could put his image here so you can kind of see how we're twinning. MGK, favorite artist of all time. Other artists that I listen to, Life, I think is how you say it. Party Alone, Charlie on a Friday, Nick D, Connor Price. Those are a few to name. And then other genres that I'm really into are sad rap and country. So, yeah. It's a very diverse market over here. I'm all through the spectrum. I will jam to anything. It's got to just fit the vibe. It's all about the vibes. And honestly, there you have it. Those are the basics. Those are the things that you need to know right off the bat before we get into more content, which I promise is coming your way. I have so many ideas, but they will all come with time. I promise. And then I wanted to finish up with just a few housekeeping things. There are 3 things that I wanted to mention in terms of my being here. The first one is just as simple as my intent. I feel like it's very important to clear up the intentions that we have and that we bring to the table. I have always wanted to be a YouTuber on some pretty cliche, she wants to be famous kind of thing. However, that's not why I'm here. That's not why I'm starting this. What I really want to embody is being the woman that I am now that my younger self really could have needed. I just want to let that sink in for a minute because that's my passion, that's my driving force. And I just want people in the world that feel like they aren't seen or they aren't heard to be heard by me. And I just want you to know that you are valid, that you are special, you are important, you are extraordinary, and this world would be lost without you. And I am so happy you're here, and I am so incredibly proud of you. I hope that you stick around. Which leads me into my second point of my goals for being here are not to be famous. I just want to come here and create content, the content that I want to see, the content that I want to put out, and whatever comes with that comes with that. I'm not trying to amass a following. If it happens, that's great. It means more people are hearing me and I'm reaching more lives, I guess, in some save the world aspect. But I just want to be myself and I just want to make the content that I feel like I'm being called to make. Which leads me into my third and final housekeeping point. Let's get connected. Let's get social. So I have a couple of different ways that I'm going to tell you to get connected with me. They will all be in the description, but I will list them all here. So the first one we're going to start with is my new main Instagram. Go follow that if you want to be tuned in for the life that I live, posts that I make, and then, of course, new drops and new content. The second Instagram I'm going to put below that is my professional Instagram. That is where you're going to see all my photography, any short films that I decide to put out. Those will all be there, which also has its own YouTube. So if you are interested in seeing those videos, those will not be associated with this personal account that I am on. Go follow and subscribe to that channel as well. And then my last link is going to be my website link, which is also part of my Wildcard Fashions professional endeavors. So go check that out. Go snoop and see my artworks, read some of my writings, and just check it out. Yeah, I think that does it. I think that is the first video in the books, and I can't wait to see what you all think about it. One more thing that I want to mention, I'm going to put one final more link in the description. It is a Google form. I know that sounds so scholarly of me, but I love gathering research, and if I'm going to be here making content, as much as I want to make all the content that I want to make, I also want to make stuff that you guys want to see as well. So it's in a completely anonymous form. Go fill it out. It just gives me some ideas of what content you all want to see and what you want to hear from me and know about me. And it would just really help me out if you'd go fill it out. So I will leave it there with that. We are done for this first video. That's a wrap. I love you. I'll see you next time. Bye.